Shalom. I want to start this off by giving honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahar Kakwadash. Peace and salutations to the elect men and elder men diligently pushing forth the will and doctrine of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, day by day, according to the true understanding of the scriptures. To you I say Shalom. This can be a response, as well as a land back to the lesson that the brother Padah had put out, which I have here on the screen. This is Suffern, the Ruckus of salvation. Complete blackout in my area. No stars or moon. Reminiscent of Egypt. Right? And, what sparked this was with watching this lesson that the brother had did, just certain things that transpired, because the same event, that he goes to speak on, I was a part of, you know what I'm saying, just in a completely different space, if you will, right? My brother was where he was at, but I was at the plant when everything had happened with the thunderstorm, but nonetheless, certain things that the brothers mentioned in this lesson here, correlated with certain things, I thought, or I said to myself in the midst, of everything happening, how it did. So, which basically just showed me it was definitely all by the Spirit, and that's what sparked, me wanting to do this lesson. So, like I said, this would just be, a response slash land back, if you will, to the brother's lesson and the points that he was making, But I'm gonna jump around, just as far as within his lesson, just to hit the specific points I'm trying to make. But I definitely advise those that do watch this lesson, to go watch, the beloved brother Padah, his lesson. There's a lot of wisdom, to be taken from this lesson, So, without further ado, we gonna get right into it.
And most importantly, the spiritual food. All right, because the scriptures already had it written that what we want to go live. Yahweh Shah told us we want to go live by bread alone anyway, by every word that proceed out of the mouth of God. We'll be able to continue to go on, keep the faith, hold to it despite anything. Again, be able to just go on, by keeping that understanding. But, in times of blackout where you can't cook certain food, you be able to spiritually eat on the scriptures, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, which would nurture, nourish you, give you the nourish you need, fill you back up, because the spirit, in moments like that, or the flesh, in moments like that will try to have you down, and that's the spirit. As I said, this all the power came back on. But nonetheless, we still on the focus of what is real. You know what I'm saying? The flesh, you could hear in the background, everything just lit back up. But the flesh, will have you down. And something that's actually being starved out, because it can't feed on its own appetites, but the to where you as a spirit are down. But again, that food for thought, this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, the doctrine, the gospel, right, the good news, the real perspective of everything will be fed to you in a moment to where you can see, wait, that's not even, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? That's not of importance anyway. That's of excess. All right?
Yeah. Real quick, I'm gonna continue to play this, but I just want to grab my first couple of scriptures just to get the ball rolling, right? Because with the brother going on to mention, you know, is something that's very is of utmost importance when it comes to our daily walk. You know, the flesh gonna be weak while the spirit is willing. You know, and what you indulge in can either help add to the weakness or help add to your strength and willingness, right? So I'm gonna start this off right here. This is Sirach chapter 2, verse 13. It says, "Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended." Right? And this is a position that you don't want to be in, you know? And I'll say this as far as what happened with the storm coming through when I was at the plant, right? You know, basically everybody at the plant was was acting a fool. You know, they all scared. They you could just tell like everybody crazy hectic in the spirit, you know. And there was this dude, he was an Edomite. He had came up to me, and my position has me, you know what I'm saying, in a specific location as far as within the building. So, you know, I didn't leave that location. I just stayed there, you know. But I was just though I'm seeing what's going on outside and, you know, hearing all the commotion that's going on with that's going on outside of the room that I'm in. You know, I'm just me being, you know, in a calm spirit, knowing that I'm protected, knowing knowing the power that I operate under, you know, nothing's gonna happen to me. Right? So I'm in a calm spirit, I'm watching the lesson, and not really paying no mind to this, because this isn't how my story ends, you know. Like that's basically you know, the thought process I'm having in mind. So I'm not even worried about, you know, the storm that's coming and, you know, everybody freaking out, stuff like that. But this dude, you know, he comes in, he lets me know like, oh, you know, they're taking shelter and you know, the designated areas, you know, that they have throughout the building for when tornadoes are coming or whatever, right? And you know, I ain't heard no sirens or nothing like that going off outside. So, you know, I'm not even worried. I'm like, this just look like a storm, you know. And I ain't say that to him, but you know, this is my mentality, because I'm really just letting him rock. You know, him speaking. You know, I don't really got nothing to say because I'm not trying to entertain, you know, the weak spirit he coming in, because that's basically where he was at. You know, and he was basically looking at me crazy for not being as freaked out as him and the rest of everybody else outside of the room, you know, because he was basically telling me, insinuating for me to come into the other room with them, and I was like, yeah, you're good, you know, going into the other room. I gotta stay here, you know, and you know, he like looked at me crazy, like, why aren't you Like, why aren't you freaking out like the rest of us and, trying to come into this room with all of us, And it's like, it didn't faze me, but I just thought it to be, how would I say, comical almost in a way, because I know how the story, I know the plot to this movie, I know how the story's supposed to go, I'm in the know of what's to happen. And with me having that in mind, I'm confident, not prideful, but confident in the spirit of knowing like I'm taken care of, like ain't nothing finna touch me when it comes to this storm. Like it's this really for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? That's not right. That's not, you know what I'm saying, of the Lord, or operating under the power of, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, right? And that's a certain level of comfort that I have being in that spirit. So that spirit is the opposite of what you see here in 2 Ezra 2:13, because I believe in the Lord and I believe in what he says, right? And that gives me comfort, that gives me safety, that gives me peace, because I trust in his words, even in moments I may have uncertainty, I still trust in his word, because I know the scriptures say, let every man, let God be true and every man a liar, So the Lord's word doesn't go out void, right? He's not a man that he shall lie. Understanding all of these things allows me to know, okay, what the Lord said, that's what he gonna do, And if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm putting myself in good position to not have to get caught in the midst of his judgment when he goes on to put it forth, because the Lord say here, let me see, this is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. It says, "Thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee." You see? So the man that, the brother or sister, that's in the right spirit, in the right mentality, not making a mockery of the Lord, but truly going on to live his word out, do what they go on to do, trusting in his word, in his wisdom, his knowledge, the understanding that he gives, right? Trusting in those things, you're gonna be in perfect peace. It's like you're a product of your environment, like how that saying goes. If you're constantly in his word and being secured in his word, you're gonna be secure. It says, verse 4, "Trust ye in the Lord forever, for in the Lord Yahweh, right, is everlasting strength." Right? That strength is what's needed. Cause it's like how the brother said in the lesson, which we, Lord willing, the part that I go on to play, it go on to say it, or it go on to you be able to hear him say it, like this whole situation with the storm just a precursor to what's to come, completely. The things that have been are the things that shall be, We've seen it before when you read, our history, right? And we also know it's going to happen, So this just being, and I can't even say it's low level, but I say low level in comparison to what's to come, how much more in that time when he ups the ante for real, Because I only say that to not neglect, the signs that come from the Lord, but yet there's more to come. And that's something to be aware of, and that's something to acknowledge and to really take heed to, and trusting in the Lord. You got to make sure that you keep yourself in position to have Him help you stay in perfect peace. You can't just speak it without doing it, without proving it, without acting on it. You got to put His words into action. Spiritual and physical, right? That's the whole how would I say, premise of how you want to be going about things. Looking to receive the thing spiritually and translate it into the physical. Because with this, right, and when I say with this verse, like Isaiah 26:3, this should show you gotta keep your mind on the prize, right, which is that peace, having that everlasting strength, being able to receive the promises that are to come. You wanna make sure that you keep your mind on the prize and what it takes to get it before it's too late. You don't want to be in this spirit. This the wrong spirit to be in. He that believeth not is not trusting in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? Which then leads to you not being defended. You got to make sure that you are holding to His word, within your mind, within your spirit, and within how you go on to act, how you go on to deal with these certain circumstances that transpire, that present themselves within your walk. Put your trust in Him. But knowing that this is just a precursor to what's to come, we understand like this world gonna end. I ain't worried about this. I'm worried about making sure that I'm good and I'm in a position to where I'm gonna be able to meet the Lord. I'm gonna make sure that I'm in good standing to where I'm not getting caught up in the midst of Esau judgment. But let me get my this next verse real quick too, and then I'll continue playing. This is Jeremiah chapter 29 and verse 11. It says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, Yahweh." Right? Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It says, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Right? Doing what's required and needed will keep you in God. It's like in good standing with God, with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and keep you in a spirit of confidence, right? And specifically in the spirit of confidence with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, not a confidence of this world, because like the brother going to say in the video, with the power coming back on, everybody just getting right back into their regular scheduled program of not being right and not realizing, what the Lord just had happen. Like that storm didn't just come through for no reason. It ain't no coincidence. No, that's all the Lord. That's all the Lord. The Lord was talking, Just like how when we see a rainbow, we understand, we know that the Lord want to flood this place. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no off job. It ain't, you know what I'm saying, whatever the world try to make it, we know it's what the Lord made it to be. Because He's the creator. And He went on to mention what it is to be. It's a sign and a, you know what I'm saying, and a wonder in the sky for us to acknowledge what's going on. You know? You can't forget this ain't the world that he went up and running. He finna shut all this down, you know? So again, you gotta do what's required and needed, you know, to be in good standing, to be in a position to where um you're not gonna have no evil come at you, you know? And if it does, it's not nothing that's gonna take you down, you know? You still gonna be able to prevail. And that's something to be confident in, with knowing this, with having the Lord's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? And knowing He gonna give you that expected end, with you occupying yourself in the right things and doing what is needed of you, what's asked of you by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you know? So jumping back here real quick, we gonna continue on here.
which is what the flesh get into. So it's through moments when you down when you get to learn what's real. You know, like the scripture say, a friend may not be known, and a friend can't be known in prosperity. You know, so you have that. But reading on, it says having food and raiment, right? Your power go out, your clothes don't disappear. You know, you covered, and more so what the spiritual covering. Your covering don't disappear. You know, though everything around you is disappearing, you know, you're still covered because you have the tawad, the mark. You're sighing and crying, you know, because really in the moment of everything, I'm just like, man, I can't wait to get the hell out of here, man. Just tired of this shit. Like, do you think power gonna be going out in the kingdom? And then, you know, the fact that, you know, our own actions did help all this play out, but really on behalf of these people needing to have shit taught to them, we gotta suffer with them because we in this world. You know, that's why the Lord didn't have us come into this world, right? This world of Esau, this bugged out ass place, Egypt, with anything, you know. But to keep my train of thought, you know, simply what I'm saying is we suffering for these people. The scriptures tell you.
Yeah, kind. So that's why you want to make sure that you keeping your mind occupied on the right things, you know, so you're not in a position to where Salakia. So that way you're not in a position to where you know, you suffering greatly, you know, like how Esau is written to suffer greatly, you know. Doing what you can to not suffer at all if possible, you know. But in the moments that you do, whatever's thrown at you, you know what I'm saying, you take it, you know, because all for a greater purpose, you know. And I'm gonna get the scripture that align with that, you know what I'm saying, in a moment. But I'm gonna jump ahead to the next part within the brother lesson.
The wicked shall be turned into hell. and all the nations that forget God. See that? The Lord gonna show them, man. You know, right now he giving these people over the mind of where the power came back on. They right back in their wickedness. Cause I was thinking about them like,
Or you know what, hold on, Salakia. Let me get this one first.
the Lord wants you to know that, man. All right. So getting back to the point, this is Iraq 40, and I'm gonna start at 1. It says, "Great travail is for every man, and an heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam, from the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day they return to the mother of all things." It says their imagination of things to come, and the day of death, and the day of death. You know, all these things you look around, you know, you deal with as a so-called human being, but you dealing with as an Israelite, knowing what's going on in the valley of the shadow of death and the peril of your overthrow, you know, in the strange country, in the country of your captivity. You know, we think, you know, knowing you surrounded by enemies, and you know, you got a kingdom coming, and you know, you was damn displaced, and you not even supposed to really be here, man. It shouldn't even be like this. You know, it's a story playing out, and you know, knowing how it's going to end, you got to just, you know, wait for the director to say okay, next scene. You know, so you got to have patience. So it's frustrating, you know what I'm saying? Which is going into my, like I said, my sentiment earlier when that shit happened, the power. I'm like, man, I'm just ready to get the fuck out of here. Like, it ain't even about the power coming back on at this point. I'm tired of this shit. You think we really gonna be dealing with this in the kingdom? You know, because this shit, we dealing with this because of these damn people in reality. The Lord got to judge the most majority of our people. I was thinking about them like, the Lord he gonna really about kill everybody. You know, and you just hope you are the number. You know, what I'm saying?
And you know, that was something that was by the spirit, you know, that aligned with my situation. Cause in the midst of the dude coming up and, you know, running his mouth, he came back in, you know, a couple of times, you know, and you know, he trying to tell me to go to the news website to watch the live broadcast of, you know, Esau Faith playing like he prophet, you know. Cause the brother had mentioned this, you know, when I talked to him, which I like completely noticed. It Esau going on to keep updating the weather report watch of, you know, if it's gonna be a tornado, thunder gonna be in your area for this long. They keep updating the time and the hour because they don't know, you know, like they don't have control over this, and you just able to see like how everybody completely in this wrong spirit, all due to the system that's set up. So it just makes sense why the Lord got to get rid of this place, you know? And I'm just sitting there like, I'm just sick and tired. I'm sitting there thinking the same thing like the brother, you know? Like I'm sick and tired of having to deal with this BS, you know? And you know, like one thing I've seen consistently when it comes to the Lord passing you know, his judgment through the weather is whenever I look at the radar app that I got on my phone, I look, and usually what it'll do is it's Esau prediction of how the you know, the weather going play out within, it typically be like a 2 hour span, you know, that it'll show basically, right? But what I always see when I look at it is either the storm that's coming, it either completely goes around me, or it'll dial down as it passes over me, and then pick right back up once it's past me, you know. And every time I see that, you know, it just gives me comfort. It gives me more confidence in the Lord. Like I'm exactly where I need to be at, you know, and just keep holding on, stand firm, you know. Don't let your footing get away from you, you know. Cause when that day come, all hell gonna break loose, and you gonna see everybody in they weak spirits, you know, and we aren't to be like them at all, you know. We suffer the things that we suffer because of them, but it's really just building us up. It's just more character development for us. So when the time comes and he sets things back in order, we good. We know it's bad, so we know it's good. We know it's good, so we know it's bad. You know, we gonna be able to righteously judge. You know, justly judge, because we have the experience the Lord gave us to build us up, to be prepared to deal with those things. You know, and to deal with them accordingly. You know, but let me see if there's a little bit more I wanted to put here.
But you just get so fed up, you just be like, man, fuck it, man. You know?
Yeah.
The Lord know that, man. We just vexed. And I'm like, man, Lord, just, you know, watch over us, protect us, hold the brothers down, the elect,
Yep.
all the believers, and you know, god dang, all that's ours. And you know, I'm ready to get the hell out of here, man. I'm sick. I hate this body I'm in. I hate, you know, this wicked life. I hate it here, you know? And that's just my own thoughts. But the Spirit, it said to speak, bring up things to the Lord about us that we complain about. We don't even realize. We can't even articulate. You know, think deep things you really having problems with. So how much more with that, you know, if I can say that, how much, you know, what the Spirit coming with? You know, how, you know, the Lord really seeing how we feel. You know, and like I said, just knowing that really the Lord finna jack Esau ass up. He not about to end Jake. I mean, I'm waiting for the chariots to come forth. You know, and as I'm thinking these things, you know, the Lord responded like simultaneously with lightning. You barely even see lightning, man. Cause why? The Lord he allowed these pretty much, you know, these people to just go and complete abyss. You know, which is why it says that all the nations that forget God, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahshua, because they know the Heavenly Father exists. He ain't their creator, but these people ain't going to the curses and get amnesia. But they act like they do because of the devil and his deceit, his witchcraft, the shit they get caught up in, they pride. They forget they got a maker, man. They worship the creator, the creature more than the creator.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? So I can forget my train of thought, man. You know. Plug shit up, man. Charlie.
But yeah, so now I'm gonna jump to the next point here. And like I said, definitely go and watch, you know, the brother's lesson in its entirety. You know.
The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. See that? The Lord gonna show them, man. You know, right now he giving these people over the mind of where the power came back on. They right back in their wickedness. Cause I was thinking about them, like, Lord, cut the power back on, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to just move on. Cause we know it's gonna go down, but I'm like, man, shit. Nah, I'm thinking about these people. I'm like, these mothers ain't gonna do nothing but get right back into their folly. And then you in the flesh, and this is like, you know, what is your mind really on in the time of your liberty? Like, what are you really doing with your time? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, where are you at really throughout the entire time of your liberty? You know, you waiting on this mother to go down, or you caught up into lasciviousness, you know, and lewdness. Okay, but it says for the needy.
Yeah, and real quick, you know, I'm gonna get my next verse, because that's a beautiful point that the brother made. You know, what do you occupy What are you occupied in? You know, within your liberty. You know, because this isn't just something that this ain't something to just do for show. You know, this isn't just a YouTube thing that brothers are a part of. You know, or for those of you that are watching that you may have stumbled across. You know what I'm saying? The Lord put in front of you. This isn't some internet beef shit. You know, that you hear, you see going on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever. You know, like this. That's not what this is. You can't get it twisted as it being that. This ain't a situation where you just go out, and link with the homies. You know, throw on garments, and then right when you get done, you know, you go back to committing adultery, and you know, just soaking up the Babylon juice. You know, as far as this world's doctrine. This world is off. This world promotes evil things like it's good, and the things that's good and righteous of the Lord as it being something that's bad. You know? Something to really pay attention to. And again, you a product of your environment. So what are you doing when you not doing lessons, watching lessons? What are you doing when nobody's watching, you know? When you think nobody's watching? What are you doing in the moments when you to yourself, you know, when you're not amongst brothers or amongst the congregation, you know? Are you a whole different person, or, you know what I'm saying, are you really rooted, you know? Because like how brothers have said countless of times throughout the years, it isn't supposed to be my life and the truth, you know? It's my life is the truth. And the truth really just being you taking hold of your heritage, you know? This word. Take a hold of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? The Most High and His only begotten Son, by their true identities, their true names, right? And operating under the power that you're able to obtain with doing so, you know? So this is Second Esdras chapter 7 and verse 57. And I'm gonna read through 59. It says, "Then answered he me and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. That if he be overcome, he shall." Now he might, we don't know, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the glory, right, getting that prize, you know, if he get the glory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For this is the life whereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose thee life, that thou mayest live. There's a war currently taking place in the spirit that translates or manifests, if you will, right, in the flesh and in the carnal world. And if you're not fully rooted, you know, if you're not properly armed and prepared in the spirit, you're susceptible to getting taken out or being overcome, you know? Choosing life that you may live includes understanding the conditions of the battle, right? Who you at war with, how they trying to be at war with you, knowing what's good and evil, right? And not putting yourself in a position to be brought under the power of anything, you know, that can destroy you, right? And just getting that real quick. Grab that real quick. It's 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 12. It says, all things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. You know, and this is like in regards to like what you do with it within your liberty. You know, all things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. You see, that's something to really take heed to. You want to be built to where you unmovable. You know, you firmly rooted, you firmly secure. You know, you want to get your house in order now, right? Get your house in order and get it fully founded and fully stabilized, so that way, when you know, I must grab it too, you know, because that's a good one as well. Matthew 7 and 24, right? It says, because I'm saying, just to finish that point, you know what I'm saying, before reading this, you want to make sure that you solid, you know. So when the floods, the rain, the winds, you know, they all hit you physically or spiritually, you not gonna be moved, you know. Reading it here, Matthew 7 and 24 says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, right? And mind you, these are red letters. So this coming from Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, you know. He is, you know, the Allah Shadi, you know, God Almighty, right? In the name by Hashem Yahweh Shai, He's salvation, you know. And those sayings is His word, you know. The volume of the book, this whole, you know what I'm saying, the wisdom that's within this book. Hearing is understanding, you know. Whosoever heareth, right? That hear going to understand these sayings of mine. For you to understand it, you gotta prove it. You gotta meditate on it. You gotta take hold of this bread, you know. Like how the brother had said that before in the first little snippet I played, you know. Yahweh Shai said we wouldn't survive just off of bread alone, you know. We need this spiritual bread, His manna, you know. Being his word, His wisdom, His knowledge, His understanding. That's how we gonna be able to obtain that fullness in the spirit, you know. And that's what's gonna keep us full, satisfied, well nourished, well taken care of, all the way to the end. You know, so that we can have it completely. But to the point, you know what I'm saying, staying on point here, it says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man. Not a foolish man, a wise man. See, to be a wise man, you gotta have wisdom. It says, which built his house upon a rock. It says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house. And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. You see? Get your stuff together now. Occupy yourself in the right things. Set your mind on the things that's important, that needs to be on, so that way you in position to benefit. You in position to have peace, to be in perfect peace. You in the right position to be confident, be secure, and be calm when all hell breaks loose, because you know you were doing what you were supposed to be doing. you know that you're not in the same position that you see the rest of these people in. That's amongst the earth, you know, and that includes Jake, you know, not the elect of Israel, but you know, those that's of the physical seed of Israel, you know, they gonna get effed up too, you know, and those gonna be like the ones, you know, that built their house upon the sand, you know. Reading that Matthew 7:26, it says, "And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand." You see, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. You know. So again, this not the type of spirit that you want to be in. You know, you don't want to put the Lord on the back burner. You know, you want to be making sure that you occupying your time of liberty with the Lord. You know, however, whatever ways that you can. You know what I'm saying? You want to be doing that. You want to be making sure that you constantly in the scriptures, you constantly reading. You want to make sure that you constantly in the right spirit. You know, and you want to be making sure that you paying attention to what you surrounding yourself with. You know, and that's gonna bring me to my next scripture right here. Starting at the top of Sirach 2. This is second not second Sirach 2 and verse 2. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. And make not haste in the time of trouble." You see? It says, "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." It says, "Whatsoever," and this is what I mentioned before, it says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state." You know, in the moments that, you know what I'm saying, we gotta suffer. You know, while Esau getting judged, you know, having moments of getting, you know, hitting the crossfire, but not being directly hit. You know, you take it on cheerfully, because you know how the story's supposed to end. You know what's to come if you hold on. You know, you understand that these are the conditions of the battle. So once you understand these are the conditions of the battle, you know there's still victory at the end of it. You know this ain't the end just yet, but you know that there's more to come. Having prudence, being circumspect, building or constantly building discernment, paying attention to who you surround yourself with, what you occupy your time with, and the spirits that come with all of these things, you know, those are the ways of how you able to prepare your soul. Those are the ways that you these are the things that help you to understand the conditions of the battle. These are the things that help you to be able to endure and to obtain that victory. You know, you gotta really pay attention to the war that's going on. You know, you gotta make sure that you counting the costs and all of what entails this war that we a part of. You know, whether the people around you see it or not, it's going on. You know, whether you see it or not, it's going on. You know, you can only pray that the Lord show it to you and put you in the right position to be prepared for it. You know, be prepared to deal with it the right way. So, I'm gonna grab this real quick too, and I got a few more. You know, and this would pretty much be it. This is Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17. It says, "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation." You see, ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. This is Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." You see? What's the common denominator, you know? The consistent trend that you see within these scriptures. Romans 11 and verse 26, it says, "And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob." You see, this is how the story this is how the story ends and begins, if you will, right? This how this story ends, and this how the next film is gonna begin, basically, right? Like, we understand this the ending credit scene, if you will, that shows us what the sequel gonna be, right? Although, you know, that analogy makes sense, but we understand, you know what I'm saying, like Esau is the end of the world and Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. So we just gotta make sure that we in the right position, you know. It's written for us to win. That's what you're able to see here, right? But Satan and his spiritual / physical counterpart Esau, they gotta get tore up first. So it's best that we, you know what I'm saying, me, you, those that's listening, but like, me speaking to myself first and foremost, put ourselves, out the way, so we not subject, to having to suffer, as much, because we still gonna get tried, we still gonna have, people, making a mockery, going against the Lord, however, right? But you not to be dismayed by those things, Really, that should only be fuel to your fire to keep pushing, because we know it's written that those things are gonna happen. So it only just further shows the Lord's word to be true, And with you seeing that to happen, you know what I'm saying, to come to pass, right? Seeing that those words come to pass, you should know our victory is also written. So that also has to come to pass, And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna finish playing the little bit from the brother's lesson, and that'll pretty much be that. Lord willing, just be edifying.
For the wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget Yahweh. See that? Starting with our people. It says, for the needy shall not always be forgotten. See that? We the needy. We power go. You can't even, like, I can't even see my Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to reserve my dang phone power. Like, it's like, man, bro. We just trying to. We just trying to make it, Lord. It says, for the needy shall not always be forgotten. But in the Lord know that. It says the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Though the power go out, though, it look like Egypt, which is what I'm going to get to before I close this out, how it look over here, man. That's proving that this is truly the power, the ancient time coming back, rearing his head, man. Y'all going to learn that the Heavenly Father is not Caesar Ray Borgia. The Son isn't either. He is not a white man. He is a terrible, a loving, merciful God, power to his people. And over the earth, he's a great king. He's nothing to be mocked and played with, man. And he, set things in order, but people out of fucking order. Y'all gonna learn this, man. It says, for the needy shall not be forgotten always. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Because, giving power back to a system that's just gonna go back to oppressing us anyway. This shit gotta go. It says, for the needy shall not be forgotten always. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Because, giving power back to a system that's just going to go back to oppressing us anyway. This shit got to go. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, that the nations may know themselves to be but men, Salah. You're nothing. You're nothing. It shouldn't have to take all this for the Lord to get through to people, man. It's damn sad, man. I'm kind of going into other things, but this is the spirit. This is Sirach 36 and 1. Have mercy upon us, O Lord, God of all. See power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. And that's what's happening, man. It's so dark, bro. It looked like Egypt when it said, but you got to keep, because I'm kind of jumping the gun. When it said it was darkness at midnight. It was so damn dark. It wasn't no lights, bro. It's so dark, right? And this is how I know it's a precursor of what's to come, because it says there is no light in the day of the Lord. So woe unto them that desire it. I was looking outside. I'm like, man, it's dark as hell, because obviously all the power out, right?
It's crazy because I had the same thought, as I'm sitting where I'm at, looking at the window that I was looking at when I was at the plant. Like I literally thought the same thing in my head. I'm looking outside. I'm like, damn, like I'm looking at the time. It usually don't get dark until like 8:30, dang near close to 9. Now. And it wasn't even that time yet, but it was already like super dark. Couldn't see nothing. So it's just completely by the spirit. Basically being in the same spirit as we are to be.
Excuse my language. I'm like, man, it's dark. But, it ain't even no cuss word, man. So you people, y'all just got to go. I'm talking to the brothers and true believers that get it, man. Just get the fuck on somewhere, man. Straight up. Sick of y'all ass. I'm being real right now. All right? Ain't time to be PC. Anyway, what was I saying? He said, the day of the Lord is darkness and there is no light. It was so dark. I'm like, dang, why is it so dark? Obviously the power out, right? Why the hell Boston out shot? I look up, I'm like, man, the day ain't no stars in the sky. The moon ain't shining. You couldn't see nothing, bro. Because it's a thunderstorm, so it's like gloomy, dark, the clouds covering everything. But it's night now. Shabbat just ended. And I'm like, dang, it's dark. But it's so dark to where not only you don't see the dang the lights because it's a blackout from the street lights, people at lights, and you got people sitting outside with their headlights on and crap, and and the elites could be behind this shit too, doing them power grid shutdowns. But nonetheless, it's still the Lord. Lord used all this. But also because there's no light coming from the sky, which those are indeed lights. Because if the sky was lit up and it was it was a blackout, it'd still be bright outside. The moon can get so bright to where it literally it illuminates. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Why? Because the Lord hid it. He covered it. And that made me think like, dang, the Lord gonna really like when that time come, he taking away everything that's really for people good, and that's just starting with light. So there ain't gonna be no more. You're not gonna see the stars. They say this: the stars gonna withdraw they shining. All of these things, and it's all for the Lord to get His point across to these dang people.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Definitely go watch the brother's lesson. Continue to watch. You know, all the little snippets I went on to bring out. But that's pretty much it. You just want to make sure that you putting yourself in the right position by getting built up in the spirit, getting built up with his spirit, so that way you not subject to everybody else's off ass spirit that's out here. Satan tried everything he could to try to get me off. Off my swivel. With how much was acting at the plant, and I wasn't fazed by none of it. Cause I could see it clearly. Like, I'm not finna be like the rest of these people running around with their heads cut off like chickens. Nah. We ain't chicken heads. So, that's pretty much it. Don't be faint hearted out here. Like how the brother lesson says, suffering the ruckus of salvation. We suffer now so that way we can get it later. Real quick, that's a scripture that come to mind. This is 2 Timothy 2:10. It says, wherefore I endure all things for the elect's sake. You see? Endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushua with eternal glory. And the point I'm gonna end it in is verse 12. But it says, it is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. You see? It says, if we suffer, you see, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. And that's the point, We suffer for the salvation. That salvation gonna be that perfect peace on a whole nother level. It's gonna be receiving the promises, right? You gonna receive that kingdom. You gonna receive that crown. We gonna reign with him. But it says, if we deny him, he also will deny us. You see? So that's what you see with that Sirach 2:13. Where it says, therefore ye shall not be defended. Don't be faint hearted. Don't put yourself in that position. Put yourself in good position. Meditate on the Lord's word. Seek understanding. Pray to him when thou lack wisdom, you know. Do it sincerely. Don't do it with no faint heart. Do it with a confident mind, a confident spirit, you know, being precise as far as what you asking for. And that's it. So, you know, Lord willing, this has been edifying. You know, until next time, you know, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Wahakak Wadash. Shalom.